A lot of times, people say that your past impacts your future. And there are times when that is true, right? Say, for example, if you choose to not pay the electricity bill, in the future, you may not have any lights to turn on. Say you choose to not put gas in your car. In the very near future, your car may stop on you. But that's about where it stops. I mean, we can share other examples, but that's about where it stops. When it comes to us, when it comes to people, when it comes to each of our individual lives, we have choices. Our past does not necessarily dictate our future. It is past time, past time to talk about making some different choices. Hello and welcome to Ladies Listen Up. I am your host, Gwendolyn G.R. Houston Jack. Can we talk about the past? Can we go down memory lane for just a hot second? Because I can't help but think about the past decisions I've made. And when people think about me from when they knew me when and they see me now, you get these question marks. You get this idea of, who is that? Why? Why would you ever question it? Why is looking at the person who stands in front of you today, why do you have questions? Because you knew me when? Now let's talk about the past. Let's take that trip down memory lane. Some of us, our past is a little sketchy. It may not have been as pristine and proper as someone somewhere may have liked. We all have different beginnings. Some of us are born with more opportunities than others. Some of us had to find the opportunity, had to work a little bit harder. Now, I gotta tell you, this brown skin right here, okay, yeah, it creates creates a little chaos in a couple of rooms, okay? And as a kid, you don't know what you don't know until you get smack dab, right? Smack dab in the face. You're like, wait, what? So we've all had our fair share of what the past presented to us. Now we have options. We have options about where we take those experiences and how they lead us into the future. There's a choice there. This is not pie in the sky, because sometimes people will immediately go to, but you've had it easier. You had this, you had that. Let me tell you, when I look at myself and my siblings, and I love my siblings, I love my family. Sometimes I think, did we have the same parents? Did we get the same lesson? Because I was there. I was there when our parents told us this, and this. I was there when our mother, who taught Sunday school, there was women's Bible study Monday nights. There was the kids. Like, I was there for all the lessons. And I could have sworn you were right beside me. Do we take the same notes? Because I just want to know. Like, do we have the same experiences? Yeah. Yeah. So it's not necessarily what you had. Because you can be from the exact same household, the same household, and yet and still the outcomes are different, right? Because we're all individuals. But this is not a pie in the sky. This is not that. This is about choice. It's about choice. And it is about your mindset when it comes to those choices. in elementary school. And I remember because my mother was one of those mothers who kept all the report cards. So I have seen the words. Probably should have copied a couple of them versus just, I think we just tossed them out. But I remember reading my report card from kindergarten, just beginning to get into life, if you will, your school career. And I remember on my report card, it said that I may be a child who is has difficulty learning, and that I might struggle in school, that I had an issue with speaking and like all this stuff. In so many words, I was simple. Okay. I was a simple kid. And I will tell you, there is nothing more detrimental than labeling a child at a very early age. If there is anything that gets my feathers ruffled, it's persons in the education field, parents even, labeling their child at a very early age when they are just beginning to even explore the world. But again, Gwendolyn was labeled as simple, that I might need some special education classes. That's what they were telling my parents, what they were telling. Now, I will tell you, my parents, they don't do labels too much. That's not how they were thriving. That's not their thing. So, whatever. Fast forward a few more grades, exact same elementary school. And all of a sudden, when we start taking these tests, they're recognizing that, oh, well, wait a minute. Your daughter she's really bright. She's what we would consider a little gifted. Oh, so all of a couple of years, I have gone from being simple, may needing special classes, to she's bright and gifted. She'll still be in some special classes, but those other special classes for the gifted and the bright students. Okay. Okay. Again, detrimental to label children at a very young age. But I was gifted. I was gifted. I was bright, uh, highly intelligent. I don't know. Call it what you want. Call it whatever your heart desires. They start throwing things your way. All of the things that you can do. You're going to be an engineer. You're going to be a doctor. You're going to be all these things. And I got to tell you, when I was sitting in some of these classes, these special trips and everything, none of it spoke to my heart. Not a one. It was interesting, but none of it spoke to my heart. Not one thing. And yet, and still, we show up, we take the pictures, like, yeah, engineering. Everybody doesn't want to be an engineer, a doctor, a lawyer, whatever. Like, some of us have these other geniuses that we really want to investigate. Again, this may have been in the past, but we still see it here too. God bless our parents for wanting the very best for us, but the very best for us in their eyes may not be the very best for us in ours. My dad just knew that I was going to go to NYU. I was going to study speech communication and marketing, and I was going to be the person to buy him his first Mercedes Benz. My dad knew it. He's like, my girl's gonna do big things. Big things. I could see it. My dad knew. So I did go to NYU. I was an early decision applicant. I knew off the jump I wanted to be in New York City. I wanted to be out of my parents' house with all my siblings. I wanted freedom. Freedom. Let it ring. I wanted freedom. Yeah. And I did get into the Gallatin Division of Individualized Study. It was going to be speech communication and marketing. I created my major, created it. because I was creative. I was like, I really want to do this thing. I opened up a book. I picked out two things that I thought were interesting and said, that's my major. That's what Gwendolyn decided to do. And then I got into it. Oh, yeah. You know what's funny is when you take on the the dreams of other people, when you put them on your shoulder, ugh, it can really weigh you down. And I realized soon after arriving at NYU, one, I'm not a marketing person. I am not Blue Suit. I am not IBM. And it was very Blue Suit and IBM. I was not liking the future path for Gwendolyn. I wasn't liking it. And I said, okay, speech communication, I enjoyed, right? The rest of it, not so much. And I said to myself, you have choices here, kid. You can either keep going to this very expensive private school, or you can do something different and go against the grain and change your major. And I did it. And my father was livid. But guess what? We have choices. Let's talk about those choices, shall we? So, my dad, again, was livid. He was not happy. His daughter came back home and was trying to figure out what to do. Like, I just didn't know what I wanted to do. And I'm going to say it again. As a person who has taught on the college level, was adjunct professor for the State University of New York, I am a huge, huge believer that when students come out of high school, they should take a year off, take time to figure out what it is they want to do. If they know in their heart of hearts they want to study science, math, whatever, then I say go full fledged, go for it. If you're really not sure, then we shouldn't put pressures on our kids to do stuff that we wish we had done. My father did not get the opportunity to go to college. Literally came out of high school and had to start working to help support his family. My mother, who picked cotton in her school days, got out of high school and went to a typewriting school. Court reporting? Yeah, that was the thing. That was the thing. That's what she did. Because you had to get some kind of training, some sort of trade. And I get that a lot of parents, depending on your background, you don't want to see your kids having to do manual labor for money to make a living, to have. And I get it. So we are not too far removed from some things, right? Like, yes, my mama picked cotton at a certain time of the day and then went to school. It's not that long ago, people. I get that these luxuries that we currently experience make it feel as if we have come a ways. We are still working some things out. Okay? So let us not forget just how far we've come. But there's still this huge gap. So my father never told any of us that we had to go to college. My mother and father said, look, just get your high school diploma. After that, whatever you guys want to do, we will help you do it. So my sister wanted to go to the Art Institute. I wanted to go to college. My brother was like, meh. And the other brother was like, eh. And that was it. Like at that point, like you have your own life to figure out what it is you want to do. But that doesn't mean that our parents don't look at us and say, this could be our future. This could be. So yeah, my dad, when I came home, not happy. And when I got my job in retail, and I love retail, Gwendolyn loves retail. I love serving other people in retail. Dad was not happy. He was not happy. Even though my income was above the retail average, not happy. And gave me hell for it on a daily basis. And I gotta tell you, I sat at home a couple of times crying, asking myself, okay, how do we make this work? Because I love what I'm doing. Like this is speaking to my passion, my purpose. I love what I'm doing. Why can I not get my father to see it? Now my mama didn't care. My mom was like, look, whatever you're doing, the good Lord got you, whatever. But my father, he didn't have that. But again, he's looking at where he came from. Now, let me just say this really quick. My dad was a cook who had a skill, had a natural skill for learning how to create other cuisines, and ended up working at this steak house. And a gentleman came in one evening, really enjoyed his meal, and like a lot of restaurants, wanted to meet the chef. My father comes out. The guy likes who he's talking to and says, I want to hire you as my private chef. And there he went. And my father traveled the world with this man who had many homes. No, stop. He had many mansions in many countries, in many cities. My father learned to speak a couple of languages. He had multiple passports, stamped to the T. So we know that there are opportunities waiting for us when we least expect it. We know that. But we also know that my father didn't want his kids to work as hard as he had to work. Now, cooking is a hard thing. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. Cooking is hard. Traveling, being away from your kids is hard because he would be in London and here we are in Houston. That time difference, we should be in bed asleep. But you do what you do for a reason for your kids. So I understand wanting your kids to have a different life and not to have to work as hard. I get it. But if your child wants to work with their hands because that brings them joy, you should support that dream. So now let's talk about us. Because my dad talked a couple of times about wanting something different for himself. He loved the life he had. Make no mistake about it. My father travels, okay? Travels, made the dollars. He had a life that he didn't even think he would ever have. Hey. And he ended up becoming a property manager because the guy had multiple properties. He would only cook when the gentleman was in town, even though all of his family was there. He didn't cook for them. He managed a team for those people. But this guy is traveling on a private jet. You know what I'm saying? Overseas. So he had a great life. He enjoyed what he did, loved it. But that doesn't mean that he didn't want more for his kids. So let's talk about us. Because a lot of us are still living in the shadows and the shoulda, coulda, wouldas of our parents. A lot of us find ourselves putting our dreams and our wants and our desires and our aspirations on our children, our nieces, our nephews. And it's not on purpose. It's not. We we have lived a little bit of life. So we already know the path that's ahead. And what we like to do is give those who are coming up a couple of pointers, a couple of shortcuts. Hey, here's this cheat code because I've already done what you've done. So I'm going to give you the cheat code to not go down that path. When my dad told me you only need one credit card, I was like, one credit card? Okay, yeah, really. I should have taken his word. I could have saved myself some trouble had I listened. But we have to live and learn on our own. They're not failures. These are learning opportunities. But at what point do you choose to do what is best for you? At what point do you say, this is the life I want to live now? I don't want to stay in this job that is not serving me. I don't want to keep this career that is not serving me. I don't want to keep this relationship that's not working for me. You have choices. The past is the past. Today is the present. And today is your day to decide that you are going to live your very best life the way that you see fit. This is that moment. This is it. So the question now becomes, are you ready to do the work? As an adult educator, I feel some kind of way when people talk about education for the younger people because a lot of it, a lot of how we learn today, is old. It is old, archaic, outdated. It is not innovative, definitely rarely creative. It is very structured. It is my way or no way, which I find ridiculous. It doesn't even allow our children to explore, to take chances, to learn to take chances. Because if you get this wrong, you get this wrong, you lose points. And I don't want to lose points. I don't want to lose points. It's not about the points. Not about the points. Life is not about points. It's about taking chances. It's about getting out there, exploring the world for all that it is. It's about taking hold of every opportunity that is meant for you. Take hold of every single opportunity to see what might be. So, as an educator, when I was tutoring, when I was a big sister, when I was an adjunct professor, I had a different approach to education. I understand that there are a number of geniuses. I understand we highlight what, three: reading, science, math, arts, four. We don't talk about everybody else in their genius because it's not mathematics, it's not science, it's not the arts, it's not. There are multiple geniuses. So, the book I want to suggest for all of you to read as you rethink how you're operating in your life right now is The Element. The Element by Sir Ken Robinson. Yep, The Element. And it's about how to find your passion that changes everything. And it does. The stories in here, he shares the stories of some people that you know that when they were kids, they were labeled as being special, as being a difficult learner, all the things, because we don't understand genius. We pigeonhole genius and we stay there. But he recognized that when you step back and you let kids just be who they are, their passions, their purpose, they show up. It's like your child is not, they're not an issue. Your child does not have a hard time learning. Your child was meant to be a dancer. Put your child in a school for dancers and watch them flourish. So, how does this relate to you? Because a lot of us, more than likely, and I'm just talking about me right now, but you could be in the same boat. A lot of us picked a career that we loved or was convenient and we made it work. I grew up with you pick a job, you work that job 20, 30 years, you get a pension, you retire, life is good. Those days are over. They are long gone. The loyalty, non existent. So now you're at a place, you're at this crossroads where you get to decide what is it that you really want to do? When I stepped away from my full time career of retail, and I loved it, retail and training, and I loved it. I had already planned what my second spot was going to be photography. I've been taking pictures since I was like a kid, like 11, 10 or 11 years old. Had a 110 camera. I still have that 110 camera. I still have the photos too. So, but I knew that that was going to be my second career. But then I got to exploring all the other parts of me that are creative. All the other parts. There was a person in one of my training sessions who said, Gwendolyn, you could so be a talk show host. I was like, what? Really? Me? No. And unbeknownst to me, I got the urge to create a podcast. Okay, 3 podcasts. And it never fails that when I am done interviewing my guest, I get that was the best interview ever. You are like the most engaging host. I had so much fun. We are chocked full of gifts. Chocked full of gifts. I understand I come from a generation, a time where we were told you pick one thing. You do that one thing, you do it well, you call it a day. I am letting all of you ladies know that time has come and gone. It's a new day out here. It is a new day for every single one of us, and we have the choice on how we move forward in our life today. These young people who are on a job for 2 years and they're like, this ain't working, deuces. I love it. They aren't trying to make themselves fit into a mold that doesn't work for them. You know how we put on a pair of pants? That is probably time to go. We're like, no, I can make it work. I can. Okay, stop trying to make it work. Stop trying to make it work. Those pants are old. They don't fit anymore. It's time for some new pants, some new shoes, some new shirts, some new blouses. It's time for some new. We've all been there where we cram ourselves into a definition that doesn't even begin to talk about who we are. They didn't even come close. We've all done it. I know I did it. And I loved my job. I'm saying it again, I loved what I did. When I left, my team kept talking to me like, we miss you. It's like, I get it. But I was never meant to stay there forever. I was never meant to be there forever. We are on the next chapter of what it means to be Gwendolyn, G.R. Houston Jack, and I am loving every single page I am writing. You can do it too. You can do the work. It's not too late. If there is a passion talking to you, now is the time to do it. Step out on faith. Step into the joy of doing what brings you life every single day. You have it. You have it. If you're around people who tell you you're too old, it's too late, dump it. We don't need baggage. We don't need that kind of baggage. No, those are not your people. When you are walking in your purpose, when you are fulfilling your passions, your tribe will find you. Not only will they find you, they will support you from here until the end of time. So I'm going to leave you with this, as I always do. Give yourself the space and grace to grow and learn. And yes, that is your choice as well. We'll see you soon.